Back in the 70s, board games and improv theater had a baby, and it was called the role-playing game. These games allowed a generation of kids to live out their dreams of slaying dragons and saving kingdoms, all while sitting in their bedrooms and basements. Today, gaming has moved into the cultural mainstream, and role-playing games are back with a vengeance. Join us now as 5 of these former kids come out of the basement and onto the internet to experience adventure, mystery, and obscure pop culture references. It's time for Roll for Combat!
Hey there, welcome to Roll for Combat. I'm your GM and host, Stephen Glicker, and in this week's show, we have a really big show. The real adventure starts where the boys get the actual meat of the adventure and start it. In addition, I have an interview with second in command at Paizo, Erik Mona himself. While I was at PAX Unplugged, I sat down with Erik and actually spoke to him for over an hour. So this is going to be part 1 of the interview, and we're talking about a whole bunch of things. First of all, we're talking about the future of Starfinder. We talk a little bit about Pathfinder. We talk about his history in gaming, what he did at Dragon and Dungeon magazine. We talk about some of the adventures he wrote. And we talk about just gaming in general. It's a really great interview. So we probably have a lot of new people joining us today. I just wanted to go over the podcast real quick and what to expect from us every week. We come out every Tuesday, and we're an actual play podcast where we are currently playing the Starfinder adventure path, Dead Suns. However, we're also going to be doing some other adventures in the near future, so there'll be more than just Dead Suns for you to listen to. We're currently working on that. So every week, the show is more or less the same. We usually start off with an intro and talk about GM and player topics in general. This has actually proved to be very popular with the listeners, so we're going to continue doing this every week. I myself have about 38 years GM experience, so I talk a lot about my experiences as a GM and how to best GM for yourself. We also talk about player topics as well, as between the 5 of us, we have about 175 years of experience playing role-playing games. After we do that, we actually go right into the Dead Suns adventure path, and then we play for about 1 hour every week. We also use a lot of audio cues, and we make it really fun for you to listen to, and it also makes combat real simple to follow along. You don't have to listen to the results of every die roll. We just use a lot of sound effects so you know what's going on. And finally, at the end of the show, we usually wrap up, and then we have show notes, interviews, questions of the show. We have contests and other content. For example, this week we have the interview with Erik Mona. We're also running a really big contest right now. All you have to do is just review the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or Facebook, and email us, and that's it. And if your name is drawn, you can win an Amazon gift card. Every week we'll be giving out $25, and at the end of this month, I'm actually going to be giving out over $250, plus t-shirts, plus a lot of other prizes. Altogether, it's over $500 worth of prizes. So you have until the end of the month to join and enter the contest. It's real simple. If you go to the rollforcombat.com website, there's an area where you can see the contest rules and contest information. But pretty much what I just described is what you need to know. In addition to the podcast itself, we actually support the show in a whole bunch of other different ways. On the rollforcombat.com website, we have a write-up of the show every Thursday by Jason McDonald, who does a column called Talking Combat, where he will actually go over every show in detail and then just talk about player topics in general. He doesn't even just talk about the show, he talks about what it's like to play the game, and he talks about issues that players will come up. So whether or not you enjoy the show or are following along, you can actually still read this column. And again, that's up every Thursday. On our Discord channel, which again you can find on our website, I actually post all the battle maps and all the images the players see, so you can actually follow along. I know sometimes it's hard to do these actual play podcasts without visuals, so if you go on there, you can actually see all the same pictures that all the players see, and then it's a lot easier for you to visualize what's going on. Plus, we're actually on the Discord channel, and you can come and chat with us. I'm there almost 24/7, so you can come on, join the chat, and just talk. Of course, we have traditional methods like Facebook, Twitter, and everything else. But those are the two main areas where you can really find us, is on the website and on Discord. That's where we hang out the most. In addition, on the website, we've just been posting fun things that are just role-playing in general. For example, I went into the attic and I found all my stuff, all my Dungeons & Dragons items from 1981. It had all my characters and other fun things, and I posted it on the website. And that has gotten quite popular. I did a couple of follow-ups with that as well, of some of the other items I found in the attic. And that attic is pretty deep, and I have almost everything from when I was a kid in the late 70s and early 80s, so I'll continue posting that, as well as other items over the upcoming episodes. So you are probably asking yourself, listen, there's a ton of podcasts out there, and there's a ton of actual play podcasts. And you're saying, why would I listen to you guys as opposed to one of the other 10 billion podcasts out there? Well, I'm going to tell you why. First of all, we have been doing this a very long time. Between the five of us, as I said before, we have about 175 years of experience. We're not some newbies that are just learning how to play the game, that have been doing this for a little while. We've been doing this pretty much our entire adult and even kid lives. So we don't really spend a lot of time going over rules and how things are done. We just get right into playing, and we've been playing with each other for over a decade, so we know how to get the best and the worst out of each other. So if you enjoy listening to five guys ripping on each other, having a good time, and playing a game quick, fast, then we're a good team to listen to. Who we are, real quick, I'll give you the overview. I'm Stephen Glicker, and I've been DMing for about 38 years. I've done everything from Pathfinder, Starfinder, all the versions of Dungeons & Dragons, Traveler, Toon, one of my old-time favorites, and everything in between. I rarely am a player. I only really like to GM. And I'll go over tips and tricks of things I've learned over the years. I've also been podcasting for almost 15 years now, so I have that experience as well. Next up, I have John Statz. He plays Mo the Vesk Soldier. He's a resident professional gamer. He worked for Blizzard for over 10 years. He was actually the first 3D designer ever hired by Blizzard, and he worked on World of Warcraft, creating over 20 dungeons and non-instance dungeons, including 90% of vanilla WoW's caves, crypts, dens, mines, hive tunnels. In fact, if you've played WoW, you've definitely played everything he's created. I'll go over a quick overview. He did Black Phantom Deeps, Blackwing Lair, Black Rock Mountain, Black Rock Depths. He made Booty Bay. He made Karazhan. He made Lower Black Rock Spire. He made Molten Core, Razorfen Downs, Razorfen Crawl, the Slag Pit, Upper Black Rock Spire, the Wailing Caverns, Warsong Gulch, and so on. So he has been doing this for quite a long time. He's probably the most laid back on the show and kind of the goofiest. Next we have Jason McDonald. He plays Tuttle the Yoshi mechanic and his battle drone Cheddar. He provides a lot of the site content and role for combat, and he writes the weekly column Talking Combat. He's probably the most serious of the bunch on the show. Next we have Chris Beamer, who plays the Lashunta operative Haruji, and it's probably the most role-playing experience between all of us. He's been playing since the mid-70s, and has never really stopped. He's definitely the most reckless and the craziest of all of us. And then finally we have Bob Marquis, who plays the human envoy Rusty Carter. He's our resident geek extraordinaire. He knows everything about anything that has to do with geek culture, and plus he's been gaming forever as well. He makes fun of the rest of us all the time, and he's just a jokester. He's probably the most cautious of the bunch. So, you say, that sounds awesome, but I don't want to listen to all the previous shows, so what do I do if I want to jump in? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're going to be dividing the show up into segments, making it possible for new listeners to jump on board right away. And lucky for you, this is one of those segments. Episode 1 was really the introductory to the Starfinder universe, and we had Thirsty Hillman on the show to kind of give us an overview. It's a good show to listen to, and it gives an overview of who we are and what we're playing. We only play the game for about 5 minutes in episode 1. Episodes 2 through 8 is the intro story, and you don't really have to listen to that if you don't want to. The meat of the adventure is going to be starting right here and now, so you can jump right in and start from here, and you'll get right into the show. But what did I miss, you say? Can you catch me up to date really quickly and easily? Why, yes, I can. Here's a 5-minute overview of what occurred in episodes 1 through 8. Obviously, there's going to be spoilers if you're playing Dead Sons, so you might want to skip ahead 5 minutes if you don't want to listen to this. Otherwise, Hey, Roll for Combat voiceover guy, take it away.
Thanks, Stephen. The Roll for Combat adventure begins with our 4-player characters. Hirogi, the Lashunta operative. Rusty, the human envoy. Mo, the Vesk soldier. And Tuttle, the Yosoki mechanic and his battle drone, Cheddar, traveling in a small space shuttle. These 4 have decided to leave their past lives behind and start a new chapter by joining the Starfinder Society, an organization focusing on unraveling the mysteries of the universe. After spending some time getting to know one another, the shuttle docks at Absalom Station, the gigantic space station that occupies the former orbit of the Sun's now-vanished third planet, Golarion. Absalom Station is the administrative and cultural center of the Pact Worlds, and it is here that our players are to meet their Starfinder contact, the dwarf, Duravor Creel. As the players disembark, they scan the crowded docking bay and find the tall and lanky dwarf across the bay. However, before Creel can properly greet the players, the air is suddenly filled with laser blasts. Bystanders scream and flee in terror, diving for cover or milling about frantically while Creel crumbles in a heap as he's hit by a laser beam. Suddenly, the players find themselves in the middle of a gang war between the Downside Kings and the Level 21 crew, and they must scramble just to survive their arrival on the station. After a mad scramble and narrowly dispatching these thugs, our players arrive at the Starfinder's headquarters and meet their new contact, a Shirin named Chiskisk. Shocked by the death of his friend Creel, Chiskisk gives these recruits their first assignment: learn how to work together and find out who killed Creel and why. After meeting with Chiskisk, the players slowly explore the vibrant Absalom Station and learn each other's quirks and how to work together, more or less. After finding a place to stay, the players learn more about current events on the station. By far the biggest news, discussed endlessly on the news feeds and public conversations, is the recent arrival of the derelict ship Acreon, the whereabouts and fate of its missing crew, and the nature of the mysterious drift rock the ship brought with it. Rumors and speculation are rampant about this ghost ship and its rock in tow, some saying the Acreon's crew witnessed something significant and were killed to keep it secret, while others saying the entire crew went mad and walked out the airlocks, while others speculating the drift rock contains legendary treasure of lost Golarion, preserved before the planet disappeared. Nobody knows for sure the true story of where the ship came from or what the drift rock contains, and rumors continue while the Acreon and the drift rock remain under guarded quarantine. After settling in, the players pound the pavement, explore Creel's apartment, and talk to the locals. Eventually, they discover that there are 2 parties who appear to be somehow directly involved with Creel's murder. The first party is the Hardscrabble Collective, a clan of stubborn asteroid miners who Creel personally invested money with, and who just happen to own the mysterious Acreon. The second party being Astral Extractions, a powerful mining conglomerate with business ties throughout the Pact Worlds, and who hired the Acreon to scout for new mining prospects in the vast. Eventually, the players' hard work uncovers that the Hardscrabble Collective hired the Level 21 crew to protect their members, including one of their own, Duravor Creel himself. In addition, they discover that Astral Extractions hired the Downside Kings, the brutal street gang known for excessive intimidation and violence, to pressure the collective into handing over the Acreon and the Drift Rock without dispute. Looking to talk to the Level 21 crew in person, the players discover they can get in touch with the crew by leaving word at a bodega called Mama Fats. After enjoying a bizarre meal and talking to the plump halfling Mama Fats herself, the players arrange a meeting with the leader of the Level 21 crew, a Yosoki envoy named Jabaxa. Jabaxa meets with the players and provides them definitive proof that the Downside Kings murdered Creel intentionally, and offers them a chance at revenge. The location of the Downside Kings' headquarters where their ruthless leader, Ferrani Nadaz, is currently hiding. The players and Jabaxa strike a deal, and it's off to the King's headquarters, a seedy nightclub deep in Downside King's territory, known as the Fusion Queen. The players have no problem finding the crowded nightclub. However, they discover the Pact Club poses a unique problem: how to take out the gang members without harming the hundreds of innocent bystanders. Luckily, the Yosoki mechanic Tuttle comes up with an ingenious plan of sneaking a smoke grenade into the club, setting it off, and pretending that a fire has started to clear out the innocents. Tuttle manages to pull off this ingenious plan, sort of, and before long, the firefight begins. After displacing multiple waves of guards and thugs, our players finally face the big boss, Ferrani Nadaz, and her imposing Vesk bodyguard, Hatchbuster. After a furious battle that takes out half the club in the process, the players are victorious, but not without some casualties. Quickly, the players loot the place, grab the evidence, and race for home, laying low until the heat dies down. We pick up now with the players licking their wounds and pondering where to venture next.
So there you go. Just a quick overview. For those of you who are new, welcome. Please listen to us playing. You'll be able to jump right in. You're really not going to miss anything. You're now all caught up. Even if you didn't listen to that, it should be pretty easy for you to jump right in. I'm going to be doing this every 10 episodes or so. That way everyone has a chance to jump in and listen to the show where they want to. They don't have to go back and listen to 10, 20, 30 hours of previous episodes. And if they want, they can. It's always going to be there for them. But this way you can just jump in and start listening. For those who don't, you can fast forward and listen to our interview with Erik Mona. It's so long I actually broke it up into multiple parts. So this is going to be part 1 of the interview. And then finally, we're announcing another winner of our podcast launch giveaway. This week it's $25 an Amazon gift card. Next week it's going to be $25 Amazon gift card. But then the week after, the first week of December, we're giving away the grand prize. Over $500 worth of Amazon gift cards, free Roll for Combat t-shirts. Everyone who enters gets a free prize. And all you need to do is review the show and send us an email, and that's it, you're entered. That's all you have to do. So with that, let's take it away and get into the show. Alright, so recap from last week. You guys cleaned up the club, you took out the gang, you got lots of loots, you healed up, you did a little bit of shopping and sold the goods. Looks like the cops probably aren't going to be knocking on your door anytime soon. You got the data pad from the leader of the Kings. You're going to be hacking it and probably talking with the Starfinders and see if you can wrap up this murder investigation.
Right. And we also learned that we're not famous. We're not famous. We didn't get credit for that kill yet. So.
No, not yet.
John Statz is playing the Vesk soldier, Mo Dupinsky.
Well, considering what we'd be famous for is murder, I'm not sure that's a bad thing.
There's no such thing as bad press, boy.
Jason McDonald is playing the Yosoki mechanic, Tuttle Blacktail, and his drone, Cheddar.
So you need a computer skill to hack the pad.
All right.
As usual, it's a pretty low-level pad, so it's only a 17 to make the check.
I attempt to assist. I roll.
Bob Marquis is playing the human envoy, Rusty Carter.
And I do not assist.
Get your grubby little paws off of it.
I only got a 3. Even with my plus, it's under 10.
Ooh.
Yeah, you learned OS2, and that's it.
Chris Beamer is playing the Lashunta operative, Hiroji.
Okay, I'm rolling a 6, get you a 15. It did not. You weren't able to actually hack the pad. The good news is you didn't wipe out the data. It's like an iPhone where if you put it in too many times, it locks forever, so you can try again.
Wait, let me take a look at that.
We can try. We can just try again.
I think he implied that you may lock it out if you fail too many times.
Here, I'm gonna assist your roll.
I am going to roll to assist as well.
No.
I do not.
All right, let's try to do. I'll try to do better this time.
Get a +2 from me. There you go.
That's
22.
better.
There you go. Much better. This time you managed to hack it in. You go through the data pad. You spend a little bit of time. You know what you're looking for. And sure enough, you find numerous files confirming many of the Downside King's criminal activities, including several communications between Astral Extractions and the Kings. And you even find the order for the gang to kill Dorville Creel, both as a message to the Hardscrabble Collective that the corporation means business, and to keep the Starfinder Society from getting too curious about the Acheron and the Drift Rock.
All right, so that's exactly what we were looking for.
All right. So, well, among other things, we want to make sure that the the Starfighters weren't involved in Creel's death before we take the pad to them, I suppose.
And we're familiar with all of those proper names, like the
yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes, Astral Extractions were the ones that were hiring the Kings to kill Derival. And here we go. This is the actual proof. That's what the Level 21 crew told you, if you remember. This is the proof that the Kings were hired to kill him. You have hard evidence. Not only that, Astral Extractions was sending a message to the Hardscrabble Collective, and they wanted to keep the Starfinder Society out of this. So it sounds like your buddies, Chisix, is going to be very interested in seeing.
And the Acheron was that ship that was in quarantine with the freaky space rock that lost contact with all the people on board or whatever.
Exactly. That is the space rock. You've been hearing about this one. It's been in quarantine. There's an Acheron. It came back with a giant rock attached to it, and everyone on it is dead. And there appears to be some war between the Hardscrabble Collective and Astral Extractions over who owns the rock and the ship. And there's some dispute going on. And looks like that Creel was somewhat involved in this, if you remember. He also had connections with Hardscrabble. He was like part owner. And if you remember, his cousin was killed by Astral Extractions. But there wasn't like enough proof to really go after them.
All right, so I guess we should probably head to Starfinder HQ and show them what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we do that, are your computer skills high enough that you can actually duplicate that information before we hand that pad over to somebody?
I also have that question.
Can I make a copy of the pad to my data tool or whatever?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you also found the security cameras. Not only the security cameras of the club itself and of you killing everyone, in case you want to keep that for prosperity, but you actually even found the security cam footage from the docking bay during your first fight, proving that it was an assassination.
Do we look bad in that video?
You look like you're at least 20 pounds heavier, Rusty.
God. Okay, then we need to delete that.
We'll all pause to have a good laugh about Hiroji getting his hair lit on fire.
Yeah.
And then we need to delete that video completely. I'm sorry, that sounds like it's hell.
Yeah.
After we post it to Instagram.
Yeah.
No.
Well, we should delete it from the pad, but maybe keep a copy for ourselves of the video stuff.
We definitely need to back it up. My other thought is that after giving it to Chisix, if we ever run into the number 21 gang, they might be interested in knowing what their enemies are up to also.
Yeah, the Downside Kings are in shambles. I'm sure they'll regroup. They're definitely in disarray. But yeah, you can keep the videos. It's like a holiday card or something you can play in parties. Okay, so you're going to go back to Starfinder Society?
Yeah.
Meet up with Chisix?
Yes.
Yeah,
sure.
Sounds good.
Yay!
One final question. We have a video showing that the Downside Kings killed somebody. Shouldn't we be giving that to law enforcement as well?
Up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Well, we can decide that after Chisix. I mean, maybe Chisix will do that for us or something.
Okay.
That's another reason why we made a copy is...
Are we showing Chisix that video, though?
Oh, yeah, all of it.
Oh. All right.
So you go back to the Starfinder Society. Sure enough, you get shown right in. Chisix looks at you expectingly and communicates in your mind. It's like, I've been hearing the news. I've heard quite a ruckus with the Downside Kings. I assumed that was your doing.
You assume correctly.
Are you all okay? Were there any deaths?
We lost our robot. Yeah.
Yes.
And we took some major damage. If you guys have any means of healing.
Yeah, I'm not feeling
Excuse
too
me,
good.
our robot?
Yeah.
He's a member of our team.
Our robot.
Well,
My proprietary technology.
he's like the
Pending.
You have no claim, no patent rights on him.
Wait, are you saying you own the robot? I thought he was in charge.
Yeah. Haven't you heard robot rights these days?
Yeah, so racist.
I'm hurting badly though. Yeah, I need medical attention.
Chisek looks at Hiroji, communicates telepathically. Ah, Hiroji, you seem to be burnt once again. Perhaps you should be carrying around salve with you and aloe, as you appear to constantly set yourself on fire.
Yes, I have had a bit of a run of bad luck lately.
I don't advise you go to the casino anytime soon. Chisek is pleased and excited to see any evidence you have of Creel's murder and anything you have to report. He eagerly awaits your information.
Well, let's hook up the data pad to whatever viewer and give him the site tour.
Oh, you'll be quite pleased with this.
I would say what we're going to be doing is we're going to present all of the information we have from the data pad. We will mention that we were forced to, unfortunately, defend ourselves from people there, but I don't think we need to give them details about, all the people we killed.
Yeah, I agree.
You hook it up to the system, you broadcast it. Chisek sits there in silence as you explain and go through the email showing the connections between astral extractions and the Downside Kings, the obvious hit against Derivol Creel, and after it's all done, Chisek thinks for a moment and looks at you and says, "This is excellent. However, I would ask that you keep these details to themselves, and I am not one to judge. I believe that one reaps what one sows, and you did what was necessary. In either case, I ask for any evidence you have regarding the Downside King's involvement in Creel's murder, so I can turn it over to the station officials. I will not involve you and keep you out of this. We will have all involvement of you in this removed. I also recommend that you leave any ramifications of astral extraction's possible criminal enterprises to Absalon Station's legal system. The company is a very powerful presence on the station, and I don't want you or the Starfinder Society to risk a battle that neither has very good chance of winning."
Agreed.
With that, I consider the case closed. We will heal you, of course, and if any of you wish to join the Starfinder Society, I welcome you with open arms.
Yay!
I pull up a seat to the table.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you for having us.
Yes.
I'm sure that none of us will ever regret this.
Do we get a badge?
I accept. Yeah, I want to join the Starfinder Society.
I want to code a ring.
He holds up his arm, and if you remember, there's a small glowing item in his hand, and it is actually the Starfinder Society symbol, and it sort of like pops out of his hand like a 3D image. That's how you'd identify yourself as a member of the Starfinder Society, and it even gives off a small light. An emergency can be used as a nightlight or almost like a cell phone nightlight or flashlight, if you will. So, yeah. So anyhow, he's like, if you wish to join, there's a small commencement ceremony, and we will implant you with the Starfinder insignia.
Just to ask, this implanted thing, it doesn't have any, tracking or anything like that, does it?
He thinks for a minute. He says, we leave any tracking or any of that off. However, we would never violate your privacy. If we ever did use it for tracking, you would be made aware of it. It would be used in emergency situations and only to retrieve your body, but otherwise, no, it has no other purpose.
All right.
Yes, I accept.
Yes.
Yeah.
More tracking.
Yeah, what the heck.
Well, I'm not saying no, but that's not perhaps the...
It might open up some doors.
I'd like to see some technical specifications on this thing. So,
yeah, does it give off radiation?
Well, it's a society subdermal graft, and it's an implant that rests under the skin of the palm of one hand or the end of a tentacle or similar appendage in a species that lacks hands. The augmentation can get activated or deactivated mentally as a swift action, Activating the implant causes a rendition of the Starfinder Society's symbol to glow underneath the skin. The augmentation acts as a mark, letting others know that you're a member of the Starfinder Society, and it also increases the light level within 5 feet by 1 step while active.
It's the bat signal.
I can't wait to sing some of the corporate songs that are on the books.
Yes, you also have to give your email address. You're going to be on the corporate newsletter.
Yeah.
You have to
and
agree to
all
the terms
other-
and conditions.
Right.
Like 32 pages.
It's the carousel. It's the carousel. I turned
Yeah.
30.
All right, so let's go to that ceremony.
No one got that reference, did they?
Yeah.
Of course I got it.
They called it something, though. What did they call that?
Carousel.
Yeah, when you turn 30 in Logan's Run.
Oh, of course.
Renew.
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 Yeah.
I love Logan's Run. I even watched the TV show. That's how much I love that show.
I watched it, but
Wasn't that good, but it had some cool ideas. Okay, yeah, there's like a small little ceremony where you are given the implant. You're sort of given a little overview of what's expected of you as a Starfinder agent, that you will be given out assignments and you're to help out uncover mysteries, go on adventures, uphold what's right, uncover the history of Absalon Station and everyone else from before the drift, what they can, and to just basically just explore and learn about the universe.
Do they cover murder and stealing from cash registers? I'm asking for a friend.
This is a ceremony. This is Chewbacca roars and everyone applauds. There's no
right. And Chewbacca does not get a medal. God damn it, he's not human.
no lectures here. No lectures.
Like that scene, only the humans get a medal, and all the aliens stand off to the side and cheer them. All right, let's move on.
Does that mean Cheddar's standing on the side, all cleaned up and happy?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, it does.
That's right.
Does he have a red arm?
So you actually put your hands on a little, when you take the oath, you put your hand on a little podium, and that's an implants the chip into your hand, and voila, now you all have chips. You're all chipped. You're like dogs.
Do they want to have a mission for us? Do they want us to?
Well, I'm waiting for my heel.
Yeah.
We're looking red and bloody still.
Don't hold your breath.
Fine, hold on.
I'm mostly.
There we go. There we go.
Fine, you're all healed up, and
now we're ready.
you got enough experience that you dinged.
Nice.
Yay!
Level 2, yes. Awesome.
So that was the real ceremony. You actually leveled up to level 2.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
People who are listening don't know, the way I do leveling is you need to rest 24 hours before you can level up. So right now you're level 1, but by tomorrow you'll be level 2.
Yes.
If only we had something that needed 24 hours as well, like rebuilding, BB-8.
That's not a rest, though.
Ah,
That's not a rest. We can have 3 people who are level 2 and 1 person who is level 1 and still have a robot on deck.
well, he has to walk behind us for the rest of the campaign then,
Yeah,
right?
but that's Tuttle's call. Maybe he wants to be level 1. We'll let him decide.
That doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun.
So it's up to you guys. You are kind of free to do whatever you want to do. You can explore the station. You could obviously rebuild Cheddar. If you want to get the implants installed, if you guys want to buy some upgrades, you got some downtime. Chisax will contact you with any assignments. Otherwise, congratulations on solving the murder. If you want to check with the level 21 crew, you can.
Oh, we do. We should do
Otherwise,
that. Yeah.
you have free time.
Even though they said there would be no additional money, it might still be worth checking in with them.
Yeah.
Let's wait 24 hours and then check with them. So we carry a little bit more.
Gotta
weight.
let the heat cool down, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I'm gonna a couple things I am gonna do. I mean, I should look at shopping and buying stuff because that's gonna be a thing. I do want to install my the quick release sheath to have my knife in that on my left hand, so that I can do that as swift action. And knife and pops into my hand. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
I want to recharge all my batteries. I think I need to buy more healing.
Yep.
Even though I have 2, I think I need more.
We could probably do the shopping. Yeah, I'm gonna probably get some healing too. We could probably do the shopping and all that's the repairing and the building. Well, we don't have to wait 24 hours. We can wait 3 days if we want to. I mean, there's no rush, but I want to get suited up before we get a mission or whatever.
Yeah.
Does that sound good to you guys?
I'm fine with just resting. I have nothing I'm planning on shopping for.
I mean, it's kind of annoying because we just did rest. Like, it would have been nice to have leveled then.
That's fine. I'm
going to go ahead and rebuild Chatter. That does seem like the obvious thing for me.
Yeah, I want Chatter
Steve,
back.
24 hours passes.
Okay. You wake up all leveled.
Yeah, okay, yeah, we're leveled too. And now we do shopping.
And then those who go shopping, go shopping. Jason, why don't you rebuild Cheddar now?
Yep.
I am going to explore the station a little bit, but otherwise I am not going to go shopping with those guys or stay around where Cheddar is.
Okay, yeah, tell me what you're going to do. So Tuttle will rebuild Cheddar. I mean, Rusty's going to explore the station. Haruji and Mo, what are you guys going to do?
I'll be going shopping with the healing serum. I'm looking at the next level of healing serum. Except
I'm looking at something very interesting called cybernetics implants.
Yes, the implants. They're quite cool. You can have your arm cut off and have a new one installed.
I like the sound of that, actually.
Why would you just cut your arm off to get it?
Because it's a prosthetic limb. It's only 100 credits.
So it's cosmetic. You just want a different arm?
No, it's like they can hide stuff in it.
Well, there's actually, you don't need the cosmetic arm. That's more expensive for the one that you hide stuff in. There is something you can install on your body, which is a container. I forgot what it's called, but you can actually put like a small container in your arm or your leg and can put like a small amount of items. It's like cheek pouches for your body.
Well, think of, also I was reading some of that, like think of RoboCop's leg that has the leg pop open and the gun comes out. You can do that.
Yeah, they have that. Yep, they have that.
Wow.
That's possible. You could also put that into your existing arm, or you can have you can put a cybernetic arm, but the cybernetic arms with the storage is way more expensive. So that's a separate category.
So Tuttle, I got a question for you. When you've leveled, how many hit points and stamina do you have? Is that something you want to tell people how much you have?
I don't know. Are you going to try to kill me?
No. I got quite a bit. Okay. I'm a soldier. I leveled up to 16 stamina points and 20 hit points.
I didn't go quite that high. I think I'm at 14 and 14.
No, 18. I'm sorry. 18 hit points, not 20. So you're 14 stamina?
Yeah, 14.
Oh, okay.
I'm 14, 16.
Ah, okay. I was wondering if you guys got that. Because, all right. Cool.
No, you have 20 hit points. Actually, you have 16 stamina, 20 hit
Is
points.
that right? Okay.
Mo. Yeah.
Wow.
No, you're strong.
Man, they got some cool implants, and they're not that. I can get a voice modulator. What's a respiration compounder?
Yeah, that lets you breathe underwater.
Wow.
Data jack standard. You can implant that into your brain.
Well, you can buy stuff that's a level 4. Is that correct, Steve? 2 levels higher than what we are.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys can go up to
so we can get a
now.
level 4. That's basically for upgrades, for armor, implants, everything, which is not great.
Here we go. Hideaway limb. For 150 credits, you can have a standard compartment inside one of your limbs. And it allows you to not only put small items into it, but it gains you a +2 to stealth, sleight of hand checks to conceal items.
But that goes in your normal arm?
Yeah, it goes into any arm or any leg.
Nothing up my sleeve.
That's weird.
Yeah, you can put it onto your arms. There's also replacement arms. But there's a quick draw version that is 3,050. Yeah, so there's that's expensive. I will say, not that I'm going to tell you what to do, but the very first +2 upgrade for your stats, you almost have enough credits for. Almost.
Yeah, I know. I'm not spending anything other than like a couple healing serums, so I'm going to get about they're 50 each, and we can only get the level 1.
Oh.
I was just there. Yeah, we can only get the level 1. There's level 1 and level 5, so we can't get the 5 yet. So 50 credits. I'm buying 4 for 200, and they're what?
There's level 1. There's actually no. There's level 1, level 2. Right, level 2 is level 5. It's levels. You know how it is. It's confusing. But yeah, that's the Mark IIs are you can't use them because they're high.
So I'm gonna get
so you're gonna buy 4 for level 1.
4 for Mo.
Okay.
Yeah, I might use that armor for now. Actually, that other armor, the Aztec suit.
Okay, so you have 5 total.
Yeah,
No?
that's right.
Is anyone else buying anything else?
No, I'm pushing this level.
I'm debating because I kind of like the Aztec having 2 slots. I could get that. I could use the quick draw thing, and then also I could use like an infrared thing, 200. But healing seems very important.
There's no real other way to heal. So, as you know, it's very random. It could be 1, it can be 8. So,
Yeah, if charging into combat without any armor is important, then healing is also important.
You don't wear any armor.
No, I'm talking about you, Mr. Red, all over.
I have armor. It's not very good, but I have it.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, Rusty, do you look for anything specific?
Not really, or at least not at this time. Okay. Generally, what I'm actually going to be looking for as far as like gathering information, what I want to know basically is any connections that this corporation that we don't like has with gangs other than the one we dealt with. So does Astral Extractions have any other like connections with law enforcement or business that we might run in? So basically my wandering around to get to know neighborhood is just my shorthand for I'm going to gather information checks and spy.
Okay. By the way, it's actually 1 to 4 hours. I think like one of the very first episodes you said it was 1 hour per check. It's exactly the same as Pathfinder. Okay. It's 1d4. So we'll say it's up to you now. So you can do diplomacy, or if you're looking for like stuff in some of the rougher areas, you can do intimidate. It's up to you how you want to get this information.
Well, the thing is, of course, I have a diplomacy of 9 and an intimidate of 9. So mechanically, there's no difference. Maybe there's a difference in a DC that some neighborhoods respond better to something.
2 different checks in the same neighborhood, then?
No, 1 check per neighborhood. Well, yes, you could do 2 checks in the same neighborhood, but over different time periods. So you can spend the morning being diplomatic, and then the afternoon roughing.
Perfect. That sounds great.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
So in the morning you're Bruce Wayne, in the night you're Batman.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, that's exactly right.
You got it. All right, give me a roll. Do your diplomacy in the morning.
Okay, good cop first. Okay, so +9 to this roll.
Wow. That
27.
Yeah, 27. 18 plus 9 is 27. Yowza.
Yeah, as good as it is, you know that they are in the Blue Rise Tower in the Ring, one of the most expensive pieces of real estate of all of Absalon Station. It's a huge bureaucracy, a huge interplanetary corporation. You'll be lucky if you can even get an appointment, but in terms of them doing illegal activities, the long and short answer is, oh yeah. I mean, this is a gigantic company with tendrils everywhere. What haven't they done? So them even hiring someone like the Kings would probably be not even a parking ticket to them. Like, this is like some subsidiary of a subsidiary of a subsidiary probably hired them, and you would never even find any information. And it would take you a dozen years to even pin it on them, even with the information you found. That's what's a 27. If you get a little bit higher on an intimidate, maybe you'll find out some more.
Well, I cannot get higher than a 29, so let's see what happens.
Do you need an assist from... Well,
no.
Never
I have rolled a natural 2, which means an 11 intimidate.
Yeah, people just laugh at you, and your intimidate really doesn't go
hey,
anywhere.
tough guy. Yeah, you're a tough guy, huh? And they just keep slapping me? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
You need to have a vest.
Yeah, you really, unfortunately, even at your pay grade, as good as you are, this is a pretty big corporation that has really deep ties. If you're going to find out any dirt, you are going to need you're going to either have to hire someone, or you'd have to maybe even go over to the tower itself and try to get an appointment and talk to some people. Again, it seems like this is kind of going into a dead end. It's not that there's not information. That is like an open secret, but actually finding anything concrete. Daredevil Creel spent months trying to do this about his cousin. So, yeah, it's going to take a while.
All right.
Yeah, we're just cub reporters right now.
And Jason, do you need to do anything to get Tuttle, or is it just pretty much automatic?
Automatic as long as I take the time and don't interrupt for anything.
So, will Cheddar version 2, Cheddar Mark 2, will he be the same as before? Are you going to rebuild him, make him stronger, make him better? Do you have the technology?
But I have 6 million credits, so...
Yeah. Swiss cheese is what he is now.
I've decided against naming him after a different cheese each time I rebuild him, so he's still going to just stay Cheddar. So, other than being level 2, I'm not changing out any of his mods or anything like that. So,
okay, well, he can be just Mark 2. We can keep track of each
extra
rebuild.
sharp Cheddar.
And back to Rylor and Mo. Do you guys buy anything
Well,
else?
How many batteries did we have?
Oh, we had a ton, but
How many new batteries? How many extra? Because I think I only have 2 on my character sheet. I think I want more.
I only have 2. That's like 20 shots. Like
20 shots each. I need more.
You kept 2 from killing the other guys, so you have
No
2
one
more.
wants those. I want them both.
sure,
I have
take
2
them.
guns, so
Yeah, fine.
All right, you got 4.
I mean, you're half dead after 2 rounds anyway, so
I know it's optimistic.
You actually have 3 batteries, Hiroji.
I have 3 right now, so I'll take.
Well, you have 1 in your gun, so you actually have 4. So you have 1 in your gun and 3
I have
extras.
2 guns.
Oh, so then you only have...
2 guns and 2 extras, right? So 1 in each gun and 2 extras.
No, actually, you actually have 2 in each gun, 1 in each gun, and you have 3 extras.
Okay, that's enough.
So, yeah, you actually have a ton. You have
All right,
100
that's good. I'll
rounds
take
worth
that.
of ammo.
I'm just looking at. There's a lot of cool stuff to buy. Like Carbon Edge Shuriken.
It's going to turn into like Wheel of Fortune. I'll take the Carbon Edge Shurikens and the designer sofa.
yeah,
I'll take the rest of the gift certificate.
yeah.
That's the old Wheel of Fortune, isn't it?
I believe so. I think I'm showing my
Long
age.
ago.
Sounds like the
yeah.
price. Sounds like the price is right. Like the
No, that's where you have to guess the price. It's
I'm going to
really
buy
hard.
a smoke grenade. 1 smoke grenade for 40. Remember, I'm not proficient in grenade, but I will buy one. I'm going to buy 2 more frag grenades.
Okay, you're having a little too much fun explaining to us all at length that you have no idea how to throw the grenades. That you're
Yes,
throwing.
it's going to be a meme.
Okay, wild grenade is going to be.
And by the way, use your strength when you throw a grenade. So even your great high dex is not even going to work. So you get like a -4 when you throw a grenade.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm gonna be. It's gonna be a -4 every time.
yeah. You might as well just buy them and then give them to Mo to use, basically.
I'm actually seeing the end of Hiroji's story in our near future. He
Yeah.
goes running out in front of the enemy. They all shoot at him, but miraculously they miss. So he throws a grenade at them. It goes straight up in the air, comes back down on top of him, and he blows up right in front of them all.
Right. That's
Yeah.
why the next purchase is 4 Mark 1 healing serums.
There you go.
That's 200, right?
Anything else?
Maybe.
Okay. Are you getting the quick draw thing installed in your second skin?
Yes.
Can he put a healing serum in the quick draw, because he seems like he's going to need that more than his
I
weapon.
know.
Chris, are you putting that in the second skin or your new armor? I thought you said
No, I decided against the new armor. The second
Oh,
skin
okay.
is
All right.
my armor I'm currently wearing is better in terms of
just
protection,
making sure.
but
Just
it
making
has
sure.
one less slot, so I could But I mean, it's all the upgrades are way expensive. So I have this one upgrade that we got, so I'm going to put it in the current armor, and I'm going to attach my knife to it. So it's going to be like the Travis Bickle taxi driver, but instead of a gun, a knife.
Nice.
And
It actually could it pops up and you grab it out of the
Yeah.
air.
I like that. It's like kind of like the Assassin's Creed, but it actually puts a dagger in my hand. So I got that. I got my grenades. I got my ammo. I got my healing.
Who could ask for anything more?
I feel like I want a better gun.
Oh my god!
But I don't think I can afford a better gun.
You're not gonna. You don't have enough money. You get your guns from the enemies. That's where you get your guns.
I feel like I want to buy a better gun.
Okay, well, I have a solution. Why don't you give me some money, and I'll give you a gun.
Your gun is crap.
No, it'll be great. You're going to enjoy the gun. Just hand me some money. You want to give some money to somebody for a gun, so just have it be me.
Yeah.
I think you're into the consumerism aspect. You want the purchase. You don't care what you're getting.
I do like the purchase. I like to,
Yeah, you're only level 2 right now. You're not going to get that far.
know.
Yeah, just
I'm more or less done. I mean, if other people need to shop.
Good. Excellent. All right.
all
Next.
done.
Excellent. Okay, you come back. You see a half-built cheddar. You see Mo's the same.
Reading a newspaper.
You see Hiroji is like decked out, all cleaned up, and has his new weapons and equipment. You have Tuttle just working his brains out. You guys do anything else? It's late night. You guys can go to bed if you want.
That sounds good.
Yep.
You guys go to bed. You wake up the next day. You need a little bit more time to fix up cheddar. Otherwise, it's free time. You haven't heard from Starfinder Society or anything. And you haven't had the police knock on your door.
Yay.
So it sounds like you have been kept in the clear. And since you had all the security tapes, and it was a nightclub, and who the heck knows what happened. So it seems like the Starfinder Society did their magic.
That's good. All right. We'll wait till. How many hours till Tuttle gets fixed up?
Like half a day.
Okay. Well, Mo's not doing anything for half a day then.
Do I need any special toolkits? Did I address that yet?
We did address that. You needed the engineer kit, which you got. Actually, you might need some more. You have the engineer kit.
Do you need one for computers?
You have a trapsmith kit.
What's that for?
That's actually for like engineering, like traps and stuff.
See, I thought I guess, I don't know. I'm confused. Toolkits, I thought it was like a toolkit is, you just need one thing called toolkit for all the, you need one for each skill?
No. Yep.
Well then,
Same as Pathfinder.
a lot of people need that then. Not just me.
I don't have any skills, so I don't need any of that. My hammer that you see right there, that's my tool right there.
I actually think that's an advantage of the mechanic class. I think I get a tool which is like a multi-tool type thing. I'd have to double check that though.
Oh, I see what a med kit does.
There's different types of kits. There's a disguise kit used for disguising, an engineering kit using for engineering, hacking kit using for computer checks, navigator's tools for survival, professional's tools, none of you have professions, a rider's kit for survival checks to ride creature, trapsmith tools, that's a +4 bonus to engineering or mysticism checks to arm or disarm traps. That's it. Those are the kits.
All right, because I mean, I'm going to want disguise, I'm going to want hacking, I'm going to want engineering. What was the one for survival?
Engineering you got.
Okay, so that I already have. Okay.
There's navigator, that's for survival. And rider is +1 to ride creature. +4 to ride
I don't care about that, really. All right, so I guess I'm going to buy a disguise, a hacking, and a navigation one. I'm going to buy also 2 binders.
Like the Trapper Keeper binder type of thing?
No, these are like restraints. They're like handcuffs.
Oh.
All right, so those are 5 each, so I'm getting 2 of those. And I'm buying a regeneration table.
What?
For 45,000 credits.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I was like, no, you're not.
Say, what the heck?
I'm probably going to want a hacking kit, but I'm good right now. I already have the disguise kit, which is the main one.
Okay, you got it. Tuttle, Jason, do you want the trapping one? I think you can use that too. That's a trapsmith tools. It gives you a +4 engineering to disarm traps.
I need to double check. I thought like my mechanic
Oh, you're right. You are an exception because you're a mechanic. So
or wait, actually, hold on.
No, I think of the engineering.
I think it counts as computers or engineering that I automatically have the tool for. I have the tools for it. The trap. I probably should take the trap one. I was looking at the word custom in the rule book and it just stuck in my brain. But
God, they have a lot of cool melee weapons.
Heavy weapons, like all the regular ones are good, but the heavy, oof. Those heavy weapons are nasty. Okay. Are we done with the shopping spree?
I love to shop.
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Okay, after you guys shop, you have a new Cheddar version 2 wandering around saying Johnny 5 repeatedly.
I taught him some show tunes.
Yes. Get a call from Chisex.
It's the bat phone.
Chisex calls you and informs you that they have been given a new task and that you have been asked specifically by name that you are to go meet the Eoxian Assembly in the Opsilon Station's wealthy Parkside neighborhood in the Eye. The assembly is normally restricted to Exonian citizens and foreigners with official business, but I will give you invitations so you can enter. The Exonian Assembly has been expecting you.
That sounds good. Yeah, we could do with a little bit of class.
That sounds like a party.
Yeah. I like the park area. I've always been meaning to go there.
Was the park area where we met up with the guy from the level 21 crew, Javax or whatever?
Yeah.
So I wonder if we could mix in a second meet with him while we're up there.
Well, you had to go through Mama Fats to get in touch with him, if you remember.
I know. I was just kind of throwing it out there as something maybe we can consider.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, let's make that meeting.
Okay.
Before I do that, I am gonna my second laser pistol. I'm gonna secrete on my body taking a 20 sleight of hand. Hide it.
I don't want to know where you put it.
I put it in the secret pocket that's in my jacket.
Is jacket a euphemism?
Yeah, what do you mean?
I wear a leather jacket.
You thought my cheek pouches were gross.
Oh, I thought you were going to put it like inside your skin or something like that.
No.
Okay.
It's just
You're like-
I conceal it. I conceal my
That's
weapon.
awfully fancy there inside your jacket. Wow. This must be in the future.
I mean, I do have the one holstered at my side, but I'm hiding another one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hiding my artillery laser on my shoulder as we walk.
Yeah,
Do you guys want to know anything about the Eox or the Exonians?
of course.
Yes, please.
Culture check.
Oh, you mean we have to work for it? You're not just giving it to us. Fine.
Yes. No. Tuttle, who gets a 19.
I'm trained.
You know all about Eox. It's a planet inhabited almost entirely by undead creatures. Its dominant species are human-like Elbrians, and they were forced to transform themselves into undead to survive an ancient cataclysm that almost destroyed their entire world. And although many sentient species find them disturbing, they're not considered monsters, at least in polite society. Eox is a full signatory of the Pact, and its undead inhabitants are equal citizens of the Pact worlds. And in fact, the Eoxians were the very first planet to sign the charter over 300 years ago. They were the first ones to join the Pact worlds.
So, undead good guys. I'm not sure I'm ever going to totally wrap my brain around this.
Yeah, me neither.
Are they virtually immortal?
Some of them, yes. And some people actually go to Eox to become undead.
This is the thought I'm having. Because death bad.
Yeah, but undead nasty.
Yeah, Mr. Charisma over there.
Don't become a freakish abomination. We don't need that.
You look down at the invitation, and you are actually meeting with Gelfslack Nor. You know that he's the head of the diplomatic delegation to the Pact Council.
He's the very model of a modern major general.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty bigwig, and why you low-level nothings are getting invited to this is a little odd, to say the least. But, okay.
Hey, 32 published academic journals. I'm not a low-level nothing.
Yeah, I'm as God made me.
So, you go to the Eoxian Assembly?
Yes.
Yes.
We clean up and go.
Yeah.
I put on my nice clothes. With
You have nice clothes?
I have formal clothing. I put it
Do
on.
you really? On your
Of course.
character sheet? You
I
have it on
my
your character sheet.
Had it at level 1, first thing I bought.
Wow.
Is it the puffy shirt?
It is the puffy shirt, but it's also a very nice jacket over the puffy shirt, so it looks dignified as well as formal.
Oh, he's plenty fancy over there.
I don't want to be a pirate.
Please do not mock the ascot. It is intended to show respect.
Do you have the man purse to go with it, or it's very fancy?
I prefer the term personal organizer.
Is there a sailor cap perched at a jaunty angle?
There is some jauntiness.
Somehow we're turning you into Charles Nelson Riley now.
He's got an ascot, and he's carrying around confetti.
Yeah.
And if you sneeze, you're all aliens. No, you may not use my handkerchief.
Oh.
You take the public transportation to this section of the eye with the Eoxian assembly, and it has been decorated in the style reminiscent of traditional Eoxian architecture. Black marble and bone pale limestone, vaulted ceilings, furnishings that appear to be bone-like, and discerning organic architectural details. It is quite creepy.
So they're not evil, but they are goth. Okay.
They're
Apparently.
misunderstood.
Well, they're leaning into their stereotype quite a bit, aren't they?
Yeah.
You reach the reception, and a zombie is there to meet you. A female zombie wearing a lovely blouse. It's kind of dirty, but it is a lovely blouse. And she looks at you and is like, "Oh, living. Do you have an appointment?"
This must be Sherry Zombie. Yes, we do.
No, this is Sally. This is Jack Skellington's love interest.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we show him the invitation.
She, very slowly, takes it like a zombie would and looks at it. And her eyes open a little. One of them pops out. She slowly puts it back into her socket. You guys hopefully don't puke up seeing that. And she's like, "Oh, yes, you've been expected. Follow them." And then you see two skeletal attendants come to lead you deeper into the complex.
Walk this way.
Yeah. Yeah, walking this way.
You walk through the back end, and it looks like something out of Beetlejuice, where there's undead skeletons, zombies, whole bunch of undead, all working at desk jobs. They all have suits and ties on, and the proximity of undead with formal wear is really discerning. You eventually get led into a very well-appointed office that feels like you're inside a very ancient and yet dignified mausoleum.
There's some sort of half-formed joke about the afterlife being a clerical job that's rattling about
Public
the brain,
servants,
but I can't put it together.
Suicide victims become public servants in the afterlife.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's right. For Beetlejuice. Anyhow, you are brought in. You see, a man that has an elongated cranium that marks him as an Elebrin, a native of Eox.
Wow, that is
He's
crazy.
clearly undead. His skeletal countenance displays no scrap of flesh. An eerie light burns in his otherwise empty eye sockets. He appears to be quite powerful, quite strong, and just looking at him, you get a aura of uneasiness across your back and soul. He looks at you and greets you and asks you to take some seats.
I say in perfect Eoxian, we would be delighted.
Yeah, I'm going to take my regular seat right over here on the corner here.
Since I do speak Eoxian.
Do you really?
I do.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
That might be helpful.
Yeah.
Although you've already tipped your hand by speaking Eoxian, so you won't be saying...
True. There's that.
Jeez.
He looks at you and he nods when you greet him in the Eoxian. And after you all sit down, he looks at you and says, "Thank you for agreeing to meet with me. I'm certain you're aware of the recent interest in the prospecting ship Acheron and the asteroid being referred to as the Drift Rock. And I believe you're also acquainted with the dispute between Astral Extractions and the Hardscrabble Collective over both the ship and the asteroid. Both parties are currently awaiting legal arbitration, but the wheels of justice often turn quite slowly. As a result, I have offered my services as a mediator in hopes of finding a solution that is equitable to both factions. The first step in this, of course, is learning the specifics of the opposing claims. The reports of your recent endeavors in dealing with some of Absalon Station's most notorious gangs have leaked to me and have led me to believe that you might be most useful in this undertaking. I understand you're new to the station, yet you seem to possess a wide range of skills and abilities. You certainly appear capable. In short, you're perfectly positioned as a neutral third party that can cut through all this red tape surrounding this issue and get to the heart of the matter. Hence, I contacted the Starfinders and asked for you by name. I would like you to go to the Acheron and find out precisely what happened to its crew, ascertain the value of its asteroid cargo, as well as determine whether this drift rock is truly as mysterious as the media claims.
Wow. That sounds like right up our alley.
Hiroji pulls out a pack of cigarillos, the miniature cigars, and uses the match in his mouth to light one up. Says, well, I think I speak for all of us here. We could go find your rock, but what's in it for us?
I will offer each of you 600 credits each.
Ooh.
Well,
600.
600 credits.
That'll be enough to get the job done, but
that might be enough to get the reconnaissance done, but
yeah, that's how. What you only want the reconnaissance? That's what you're saying. That's what I'm hearing. You only want the reconnaissance.
Yes, he points over, and a very small little camera comes up and starts hovering above you, and says, "You will bring this to record everything you find. Don't worry." It will automatically record everything you do and transmit it back to me personally, so I can use it in my negotiations. All I need you to do is bring the camera, investigate the Acheron and the rock, and come back. Simple as can be.
Sir, I have a question about what I believe is known as salvage rights.
Exactly. That is what the argument is about. Who owns the salvage rights?
I'm saying while we are there on site, are there restrictions on what it is we may bring back with us?
Like a spaceship or an asteroid.
Interesting question. The asteroid and spaceship are what the two factions are fighting over. I suggest that you talk to them directly and find out each of their point of views. As I am trying to be neutral third party, you should hear it from them yourself.
All right, that answers my question.
I think that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit more than just recon, though. I mean, if you want to, do you want us to be an extension of your arbitration, or do you want just reconnaissance?
I am confused by what you mean by this.
Do you want us to negotiate at all on anyone's behalf, or?
Oh, no. No negotiation necessary. You are just explorers. The Starfinder Society at its best.
Okay.
All right, sounds good to me.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Quest accepted.
Yes.
How does your jaw move with no apparent musculature? I'd really love to take some scans of your head if you had time for that.
He leans back.
Actually, I'd like to follow up wondering about respiration, which is also how sounds can come out through.
Sorry, I've never met an Eoxian, so I've got a lot of questions.
He actually leans back and laughs and says, "Ha ha 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 ha! You mouse people, you're so inquisitive. We have many of you on our planet, and let me tell you, when you become undead, none of that goes away."
That's funny.
I'm supposed to sleep tonight thinking about undead mice.
I'm not sure if I should take that as a threat or not. Does he say he's going to make me undead?
Get immortality.
I'm going to... Tuttle decides to pipe down for now. He stows his questions.
What's this guy's name again?
Oh, it's a mouthful here. Javalursk.
Yeah, you see, it's not that easy,
yeah,
right?
He's
Yeah.
Javar.
Call him
How about
Nor.
Nor?
Nor.
Yeah,
Just call him
N-O-R.
Nor.
That's his last
Nor.
name. Mr. Nor.
Mr. Nor.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, cool. Yeah. Let's head over there. And now, where do we get our whatchamajig spaceship? How do we get there?
Excellent. You will leave first thing tomorrow morning. I have gotten a ship for you that you can take to the Acheron, as well as rights to leave the station.
Sounds good. All right. So,
Perfect.
that's what we'll do. Thank you.
Are there specific people we should be contacting, or just for each part?
I'm sure both factions will quickly be contacting you probably before you even leave this building. Secrets are so hard to keep nowadays.
All right.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, wait. One more thing before you leave. There's one small additional detail that I'd like to ask your help with, Nor
might
says,
be more expensive.
steepling his
Might
bony
be more
fingers.
expensive.
Very difficult. Costs more.
Yes.
Among its other cargo, the Acheron was carrying a package destined for the embassy. Of course, with the ship being quarantined, the package has been undeliverable. I've been eagerly awaiting its arrival, and I'd consider it a personal favor if you can find the package and bring it to me when you return to the station. It's clearly marked, so I don't imagine it would be too difficult to find.
Well, now, I think we could find that package for a mere
Yeah.
300 credits each more.
Yeah. That's a whole. That's package delivery is so
Would
much
there be
more
any
expensive.
difficulties getting it back onto the station? Is anyone from customs going to hassle us or anything?
Yeah, because this sounds illegal, and that's the trick now, isn't it? And it's going to cost you extra.
Because the ship is under quarantine. I would imagine they wouldn't want us bringing anything back.
I assure you, there is no contraband and no illegalities are involved. I'm simply asking you to retrieve my personal property from the ship. And I will do one better for you. I'll give you 500 credits each if you bring the
See,
package
now
back.
you're talking
It's-
my
it's-
language.
Wait,
Man's
he's
property.
He's
That's the
gone
way it
down.
is.
He's gone down. It was
He went up. We
600.
said
Now it's 500.
No, this is an additional.
Oh, additional?
He went up.
So 1,100 total for both.
Well, for two different quests.
Yeah, two different. Oh, okay. Yeah, that works for us. Who said 300? Jeez.
Quest 2 accepted.
Oops, sorry, I lowballed.
Yeah.
Excellent. The ship I've arranged for you will be available the following morning. You have the rest of the day to rest and prepare for the mission and wrap up any outstanding business you have on the station. The two groups will most likely get in touch with you shortly. I would recommend you pack carefully, as the ship and rock are most inhospitable.
Thank you
So
very
you
much.
mean we
All
need
right, good.
spacesuits?
Well, we have spacesuit. If you're wearing
Yeah,
armor,
okay.
you have a spacesuit.
Yeah, okay. Great.
I'm going to take an extra flight suit with me. Yeah, well, this is one of the things we can haul all our junk in. So,
Yeah.
so there we are.
Well, good. So we now have the quest. The quest is the quest.
Yes.
Good.
So there you go. For those of you who are new to the show, thank you for listening. Make sure you check out next week where they continue their adventures. So for now, I'm going to go right into my interview with Erik Mona, who's the publisher at Paizo. I go over what a publisher is, but for those of you who don't know, basically he runs the show. He is right beneath Lisa Stevens, who owns Paizo, but pretty much all the decisions, everything that gets made or created, and the decision to even make Starfinder was by Erik himself. We go into that. We go into the decisions behind Starfinder. We go into a lot of the new items coming out in the future, what the future of Starfinder holds. And we had this at PAX Unplugged this past weekend. Again, this interview was so long, I'm actually going to cut this up into 2 parts. Without further ado, here's part 1 of my interview with Erik Mona from Paizo. So Stephen Glicker, GM and host for Roll for Combat, and we have Erik Mona, who is the publisher for Paizo, who probably needs no introduction. Hello, Erik.
Well, hello, Stephen. I hope I get an introduction, otherwise people will say, who is this guy?
No, you don't need an introduction. Everyone knows who Erik Mona is.
Jeez.
Well, at least all of our people do. So let me ask you, what is a publisher? It seems like a generic role that no one knows exactly what they do.
It's a good question. The publisher, in our case, I suppose it's probably different at a lot of different companies, but for us, I'm the executive who's in charge of basically the creative department at the company. So the publisher is sort of the legacy title that I've had forever. My executive title is Chief Creative Officer. So I basically am the person who ultimately decides what books we do, who we hire on the creative staff. I manage the management team on the creative staff, and kind of run the business of the book part of Paizo's business.
So were you one of the key people who decided to go with Starfinder?
Yeah, I was basically the person who decided to do Starfinder. Yeah.
So why? So our show, we're an actual play podcast for Starfinder. We've probably played 500-600 sessions of Pathfinder.
Yeah.
We love Starfinder so far. It's been a lot of fun. So what was the impetus to do this? We actually liked everything from Starfinder in the sense that when Distant Worlds came out, we loved that.
Right.
When Numeria came out, we did the Iron Gods adventure. We loved that. We
Right.
loved all the sci-fi
Right.
mixed with our fantasy.
Right.
We couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, a lot of people felt the same, and that's a big part of it. I think, we, and by we in this case, I mean specifically myself and Jason Bullman, our lead designer, always wanted to evolve the Pathfinder rules into a science fiction thing at some point. And it's just a question of when is the appropriate time to do that. And, in the meantime, it's let's do a beginner box, and let's do the ultimate books, and let's do all this other stuff. So there was always a reason not to do it up until fairly recently. And I think there's always been an impression in the industry that science fiction is never going to be as big as fantasy. That there's fantasy, and that came in with D&D at the birth of the hobby, and that for whatever reason all the science fiction games have sort of petered off after a couple of years. And so there's a little bit of a stigma about that, and that was something that maybe precluded us from doing it sooner. But what we found, so interestingly enough, when I kind of talked to Jason about, okay, man, this is what I think we should do, we both realized that we each had a file on our computers called Starfinder with ideas for once we got to that point. And, so eventually Jason was a part of the team that designed Starfinder. There was others, James Sutter, Rob McCreary, Jason Keeley, Owen Stevens, and so it was a real group effort. But that impetus that had been there from the beginning was something Jason and I both shared. And so we knew we wanted to do it, but we didn't exactly know when. And when came down to kind of 2 factors. One of them was every time we'd done anything that sort of peeked into the world of science fiction through the lens of Pathfinder, and you mentioned a bunch of Distant Worlds, which was a James Sutter book about the different planets, which was my idea. I always wanted the planets to be as important as the planes in Pathfinder because I'm a big old-timey science fiction nerd, and so I wanted to make sure we had a Barsoom type of a environment, and and so we wanted to do it, and then we did the Distant Worlds, and it sold out. We did the Iron Gods adventure pack. It was very popular. We did the technology guide for Pathfinder. That thing sold out. So it's the audience is telling us that they want it too. And kind of one of my business mantras is if you give people what they tell you they want, they will probably trade you money for it. And in fact, that has proven to be the case many, many times. We at Paizo, are all gamers. And so a lot of times what we want is not so dissimilar from what the audience wants. But when it comes to the idea of launching a brand new game, that's not just something you do. That's not even just as crazy as saying let's do a science fantasy Pathfinder Adventure Path. Well, that's 6 months. That's, on the same schedule as any Adventure Path we would have done with the same staff. This is doing a whole new game. And so that, there was that balance between every time we'd done something in the science fantasy realm, it was very popular. We wanted to do it. It seemed like the audience wanted it, but there was that sort of conventional wisdom of like, well, science fiction isn't as big as fantasy. And then there was the sort of staffing issue of like, who do we get to do this and how do we make it happen? And so I had to put all those pieces together. And the thing that kind of ultimately pushed me over the edge, quite honestly, was a couple years back we did the 100th volume of Pathfinder. And for us, that was a huge milestone. I remember going into my boss, Lisa Stevens, who's the owner of Paizo, when we decided to do Rise of the Rune Lords, the very first monthly adventure path for Pathfinder. And I said, Lisa, you have to promise us that you're committed to at least publishing the first 6 volumes of Pathfinder, because if we don't finish this story, all of us will be hounded to the ends of our days from players who want to know how it was going to officially end. And she sort of said, yes, of course, we'll publish at least 6 issues of Pathfinder. Well, we've now sent issue 127 to the printer like this week. So we've come quite a ways from 6 volumes, but so for us, number 100 was a real milestone and something that we really, really felt proud of. And so we got writers from every adventure path we'd ever published to do a short article that kind of checked in on key NPCs from their adventure paths. I wrote a big article about the secret of Eridan, the god of humanity who dies at the beginning of the Pathfinder, and what his whole deal was all about. And then James Jacobs, who was the creative director for Pathfinder, and kind of been the muse of the adventure path line for most of its existence, and was the author of the first adventure path. He wrote, the adventure in Pathfinder 100. It was an oversized issue. It came with a poster. So we're all very proud and very excited about this milestone. And we put it out, and it, respectfully, it just seemed like nobody cared. It seemed like, and part of it's because it just takes people a long time to read this stuff, but we were like, oh yeah, everybody, Pathfinder 100, and it was like no one cared. And it seemed at that point that people were kind of starting to take Pathfinder for granted a little bit. It's like you do Bestiary 4, and then you do Bestiary 5, and Bestiary 5 is a great book, but it's like, it's not that much more exciting than Bestiary 4. A lot of our stuff's based on monthly releases, and so I think it's like, we were finding a hard time, every time one of our competitors in the industry would sneeze, IO9 would write a glowing article about it, and it's like, and no one's covering our stuff, and we're proud of our stuff, and so what the hell, what do we have to do to get noticed again? And that's finally, I was just like, what we got to do is Starfinder, if people are taking it for granted, let's knock them off their socks a little bit, and let's do something really ambitious, really fun, and something we all fundamentally want to do and know we kind of have to do or should do eventually. Like, eventually is now. We've been doing this for 9 years at this point. Let's grab people by the lapels and kind of remind them who we are and what we can do. And so there's a little bit of just sort of scrappiness that went into it, and the opportunities just kind of aligned with the staff, and we made it happen.
Yeah, I come from a video game background, and I've actually said this in the past. When it comes to video games, fantasy always does pretty well,
right,
and science fiction almost always fails.
Right.
Even if it's a big IP, even if it's Star Wars, even if it's Star Trek, it's just because it's almost like there's too much. There's something not to grab onto, and then the thing of like lasers and technology is too powerful. It's almost the medieval quality of fantasy allows it to be, quote, more believable. And I don't even know what it is about it. It's like it just continuously fails. And only if they do science fantasy, like Overwatch, has done successfully, that will work.
Well, and Star Wars is science fantasy.
And Star Wars, and now Starfinder.
I think that's part of it. And I think, if you were going to do like a Larry Niven, hard science fiction RPG, I think a lot of players are in this for the fun and the escapism, and if it's like, well, let's make sure we calculate the trajectory of our, planetary descent correctly, I think some people are intimidated by the science itself. And so as long as you have this veneer of like, but it's fantasy, then people, I think, are a little more free to make mistakes or to just kind of do what they want. I think maybe a bigger part of it for me, and something I've thought about this a lot in the last couple of years, more in the realm of tabletop than in video games, but I think part of the problem is that the tropes and the shared experiences and the words that we use when we talk about fantasy. When you say like an elf wizard fights a dragon, everyone knows what you're talking about because the things you're pulling on are pulled from mythology and from 100-year-old books and from, fairy tales and things. But when you talk to people about science fiction, a lot of times it's like, well, okay, so is it a Wookiee? Is it a Klingon? All those things are proprietary, owned by a specific licensor, and they're not, you're probably not going to have a game where your Wookiee can fight a Klingon, right? And so, you're just not conjuring with the same mythic stuff as you do when you're talking fantasy. And I think that's a big part of it. In a world where you're trying to do it in your brain and you're trying to imagine it, it's a lot harder, And that's, for example, why in Starfinder we bake the setting into the game rather than Pathfinder, which is like, here's just the rules. We have a setting, but you can feel free to build your own setting. Your own setting's probably going to have dwarves, and they're probably going to have elves, and they're probably going to have orcs, and those things will probably be similar to the orcs and elves and dwarves in other people's campaigns. And if they're not, it's probably because they're specifically a departure from those accepted tropes. So you're like, oh yeah, these are elves, but they live in the jungle and their skin is green. Well, okay, but you're starting from the ground of this is an elf. Whereas if I say in Starfinder, oh, this is a Kasatha, people don't necessarily know what that means. And that's another reason why the setting for Starfinder has some similarities to the setting for Pathfinder, because at least for people who have played both, it does provide a little bit of that landing ground where you understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's funny because I've had this discussion with many of my friends. So back when Civilization came out, we're big fans. A lot of people on the show who are players, they love Civilization.
Of course.
And then when Alpha Centauri came out, there's a couple of people on my show, they love Alpha Centauri. And I argued them to the day I die. I'm like, it's not that good.
Yeah.
And for that very reason you said, is that there's nothing to compare it to. It's like, oh, you're getting all these technologies that mean nothing to me.
Right.
I have no frame of reference.
Right. I mean, we even kind of do this to some degree with Pathfinder. And one of the I guess, criticisms that the Pathfinder world sometimes comes under is it's like, okay, we've got a Viking country, and we've got, geographically it's similar to the Mediterranean, and we've got, a country that's kind of based on the French Revolution, and we've got, there are analogs culturally in Pathfinder to the real world. And so some people, one of the things when you're dealing with that, you have to be very careful not to rely too heavily on stereotypes and sort of hackneyed cliche. But I can say to a player, oh, these guys are kind of like Vikings, and boom, they understand. They're there. But if I say, oh, these are guys that are from the, Klethanoth dynasty, and they don't know what you're saying. So some level of lingua franca is really important when you're talking about a game that takes place in people's heads.
Yeah, now, and so let me switch gears.
Sure.
So Starfinder obviously did pretty well.
Yeah.
As it
has
sold
exceeded
out.
our expectations.
I was at Gen Con. I was running games for you. I was running Starfinder in the morning, and I went down to the booth, and it was already all gone.
It evaporated so rapidly. It was like 6.5 hours, and it was gone.
And
we brought half again as many copies as we have sold anything at Gen Con, including the core rulebook, the beginner box, all the big hits of Pathfinder. We brought even more, and it literally was gone in one day. So it's like,
do you know why?
God.
Is there any reason?
I mean, I know a lot, and some of it has to do with boring sort of technical stuff. Like, we knew that the demand was going to be so high, and in the past at Gen Con, when we've released a new product, it's actually created line management issues for the convention, and like fire hazards and stuff like that. And also you'll have a line of people 80 feet away from your booth holding product that they haven't paid for yet, which is always kind of a nervous thing from sort of a shopkeeper perspective. And so we knew that we wanted to address those issues, and we also knew that, like you, there were going to be a lot of our most dedicated fans who were up in the Sagamore Ballroom running Pathfinder Society or Starfinder Society who were going to have a hard time getting down to the dealer room on that first day. So one of the things we did is we opened a second sales booth up by the Sagamore Ballroom that only had the Starfinder stuff. So what that did is it kind of split the line in half, if you will, with half the people upstairs and half the people downstairs, so we're processing orders twice as fast. We would have still sold out. It would have taken probably all day, and that would have just been because of the inefficiencies in line management, not because there was any different demand. So because we were more efficient in getting the book in people's hands, it sold out more rapidly.
So you were so efficient to the point that your most hardcore dedicated fans couldn't get the book.
Kind of, yeah, which was a shock, I mean, and it's a real challenge trying to figure out the right number to print, because we didn't do that right either. It's not just like, did we not bring enough to Gen Con? We didn't make enough. And so we were sold out before it even came out, on the distributor level. And then we got a reprint, and that was sold out immediately. And now the third printing, which is just as big as the first printing, has just now come into Paizo and is on its way to stores. So it's right now as we're talking, it's, middle of November. And so this thing came out 2.5 months ago, and we're in our third print run. This is crazy. Like, never in my dreams would I have sold this many copies.
So with that being said, and I mean, I love Pathfinder. I subscribe to everything. I've played probably a good third of the adventure paths.
Great.
But I'll be honest, if you stopped publishing Pathfinder today, I would still have enough Pathfinder to play until the day I die.
I mean, that is a bit of a challenge, right? And
so what about Starfinder? Because it looks like you started off a little conservative, which makes sense. You're only doing Adventure Path. It's 2/3 the size. It's every other month. You don't have any other modules or supports. You only have the book.
Hardcover books, probably once a trimester.
Yeah, so is that
we do have the flip mats and accessories.
And even the society, you have one a month instead of two a month. So is that going to be changing anytime soon?
It's something we're definitely looking into. Our ability to output that stuff is directly related to our in-house resources. So I would say that if you see in the next couple of weeks like a big flurry where Paizo's hiring a bunch of new people, you might be able to read between the lines that some of that might be changing a little bit. I can't really say anything about it officially right now. But look, I mean, again, you remember the philosophy that I espoused earlier is if you give people what they tell you they want, they'll trade you money for it, and everybody is telling us they want more Starfinder stuff. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, the third-party market's doing really well, and there's a lot of good stuff. Owen Stevens is coming out a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
But people like myself, I like the official content. Like, I don't mind the unofficial, but I really like the official. I like to know what's canon and what's not.
And especially when things like Starfinder Society, that's going to be the official stuff that you can play with that. And so, it's... There's more coming.
Okay, so you gotta give me some info on the Skidamander, because oh my god, are they popular?
People love the Skidamanders.
I can't get enough of the Skidamander.
They are very popular. They are the breakout monster. I would say it's sort of neck and neck between them and the Yosoki Ratfolk, which people seem to really be enjoying. I think it's I think that for a lot of people, it's refreshing to have a little bit of kind of silliness mixed in with the seriousness, and science fiction, I think, takes itself a little more seriously than fantasy in general, and so to have sort of a furry-looking, goofy parasite creature is, really popular.
So you guys are going to expand, I hope, on the Skidamander in the near future.
I would expect to see more Skidamander stuff shortly.
Okay, because I can tell you, the demand, it's funny, I can look at my statistics for our website, and that is by far the number one search term, Skidamander, and awesome. They love it.
Yeah, that was Crystal Fraser who came up with them. She's one of our best writers and very creative, and it's just. And then, people in the house loved it. We got an illustration of it. It was great. Then we put it on the cover. And, that's how a star is born, Great idea, good execution, and it resonates with people. So
it's kind of becoming it's funny. They're not space goblins, because the goblins, although fun, are kind of pointless and useless. My favorite thing about the Skidamander is that they're like the tribbles of Starfinder, is that they were conquered by the Vesk, and yet they don't care. And it drives the Vesk insane that they don't understand that they're like a conquered race.
It's pretty awesome.
It's fantastic. I love that. I can just see the Vesk, because there was in the Star Trek lore, there was this huge war between the Tribbles and the Klingons. And they never talk about it. And I can imagine something very similar.
It could be.
So there's a new book coming out for Starfinder. Can you tell me anything about it?
Are you talking about the Pact Worlds book? So I can tell you a lot about it. We're sending it to the printer on Tuesday when we get back. So I looked through all of the final printouts right before I came here to PAX Unplugged. So I've been through the entire book, and I think it's the best looking book we've ever done. It's maybe the best. It's definitely as good as anything we've ever done visually. So it's got lots of compelling images of the different planets. Every planet in the Pact Worlds gets its own chapter in here. There's also chapters on new starships. So there's like 4 or 5 different types of new starships that are all, birthed from the Pact Worlds. There's new races from the worlds as well, and some new monsters and things. So it's basically the campaign setting for Starfinder, blown up in much greater detail than the spread on each planet in the core rulebook.
Something else I wanted to ask you about, since I am literally talking to the publisher.
Yeah.
So, with Alien Archive, we reviewed it on our show, and I reviewed it, and I know a couple of other podcasts have reviewed it, and a lot of them said the same thing I said. It's like, I thought this was one of the best books, not just of Paizo, but game product in ever.
Wow.
Just because of the way you designed it. It wasn't a product for just GMs.
Right.
It wasn't a product just for players. It was literally a product for everyone that had something for everyone. From a publisher point of view, is genius, because then everyone buys it.
Yeah,
as opposed to if you come out with these big hardcover books that are just for GM, you literally now just have 20% of the market.
Yep.
If you have something for players, you still only maybe have only 20, 30% of the market, because if you have someone who isn't playing that character class, they don't care.
Well, and it's also weird because GMs tend to purchase a lot more than players do. A lot of the players will just have the main book, and that's it.
So,
or not even that.
I mean, what was the design philosophy, and are you going to continue it? Because structurally, I thought that was one of the greatest books I've ever seen.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that. Again, in this case, so you asked earlier, what does the publisher do? The publisher is the guy who decides that the book's going to be like that.
Right.
I didn't do the book. The creative staff made it and executed that vision. But it was always really, really important to me, not just from the business part, which is definitely part of it. Like you just said, if you can sell it to everybody, it's going to do better than if it just sells to one cohort in the audience. But, I think part of the promise of science fantasy and science fiction is to explore being the alien, being the weird thing, right? I want that sense that when you walk into, the cantina and you're looked back at by 50 different aliens, that you could be any one of those guys, right? And I'm also a big time pulp magazine collector, and well, not big time, but I have lots of pulps, and I have lots of old paperbacks, and so my background in science fiction is much more like 20s through the 40s, when things were really crazy, some of the tropes hadn't quite locked in, and so I told my staff, I will not rest until you can play a floating sphere and a gas creature and just any kind of weird alien that you could think of. And so the edict that I put down was whenever possible, not necessarily even whenever probable, but whenever possible, let's put in the rules for playing characters of this race. So, you probably won't be able to play a space whale or something that's just impractical, but if it's a humanoid, or if it's something that could fit in a spaceship, let's give people the rules to play that, because that does pay off that cantina promise. And in doing that, so just sort of feeling true to the theme, it also makes the book have a wider appeal across the board. I really wanted to experiment with a monster book that wasn't just a list of things to kill, but was also a list of things to be, and see what would happen. And so far, people seem to be responding really positively.
Yeah, it's not even that. I mean, if I'm thinking in my head, it's you had creatures, then you had 22 new playable classes or races.
Yep.
You had new weapons and armor in there.
Yep.
You had starships.
Yep.
You had spells. You had you had monster creation rules. There literally was... It's like a cornucopia of stuff.
And part of that's because the rule set's new, so, we didn't... I think the summoning rules, we had to make sure those were in there. And part of that's just trying to... again, the Pathfinder, we've done 6 bestiaries at this point. I can't introduce a new bestiary format without people freaking out, in Pathfinder. And so Starfinder allows us the flexibility to play around a little bit with form factor and change things up, and that's been really interesting and fun to do some experiments.
So let me ask you another question about the planets. So right now you guys are doing 1 planet per book, per Dead Sun's Adventure Path, and you're sort of expanding upon it. So is that just going to keep going on forever? Because I do like the nice thing about this setting versus Pathfinder is that if you want to find a planet that is made up of people made of yarn, it's like, oh yes, we have that planet right there, and you can go to it.
Right.
It's very easy to add stuff forever.
Yeah.
Is the plan just to, like, once you go through the core worlds to start going?
Yeah, then we'll move on to some of the other worlds, the Vast and stuff like that, and we'll also introduce new worlds and stuff. I generally speaking, I would say that each adventure path is going to have information on a world. It's going to have like a new spaceship, but also I don't want to lock myself in 100%. Like I could see us, for example, having a 2 adventure arc where you're on the same world, and then maybe you just get more information about that world. Like, I don't know if it'll be every single time, but we will continue to expand and iterate the universe throughout the material in the adventure paths for sure.
So what was the impetus to make the Eoxian undeads sort of the good guys, or uneasy good guys? Because even in our adventure path, it's funny, I had them go meet the Eoxians in Absalon Station. And I made it like, oh yeah, you get greeted by a zombie in like a blouse, a dirty blouse, but a blouse. And it was like they're wearing business suits and they're skeletons with ties, and they're like, what is going on? Like, it's
that's part of why we did it, right? Is just to kind of like, this isn't Pathfinder, you know. I mean, this is adjust your mindset a little bit. This is a different game, and just the idea of an undead planet is so cool, and it's like, we definitely wanted to involve.
So, okay, I'm going to bring this up to you. I brought this up with Thirsty.
Yeah.
So, could it be, if a character dies, can they go to Eox and get raised and then become a playable undead in Starfinder?
That's interesting. I'd have to look very closely at the rules to make sure that that's doable, but campaign-wise, I think that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was. Well, you know what? I brought this idea up. Thirsty. He was absolutely horrified by it. So we'll see your reaction. As I said, this is a great idea because all my players really wanted to play undead, so I was going to kill off the whole party, and then it'd all come back as undead.
I think that's a cool idea. I just did a charity. I ran a Pathfinder game. Like a staff game for 8 hours, and just the way the dice kind of fell at the end, it was obvious I was just going to TPK the whole team. You know, total party kill. They were all going to be dead. And I was actually having so much fun with these players. I wanted to, like, not on the Twitch channel, but like, guys, let's meet in a couple of weeks and we'll play the second part of this. But I just, like, I couldn't not kill him because the whole world was watching, you know, and everyone's like, you're a softball, and I'm like, watch this, you know. So I wiped him out. So I was kind of thinking to myself, like, how do you do that when the whole team is dead? How do you kind of reverse and bring them back or do whatever? And I think that'd be a fun.
Yeah, I've had this discussion with Chris Perkins, with Jason, with pretty much like who's who. I always ask, like, how do you handle death in your games? Because I get that question a lot too. In fact, even just this week, some listeners on the show were asking me, and because in Pathfinder, it's like the first few levels are like you're going to die, and if you die, you die. But really later on, it doesn't become too much of a problem because you do have Raised Dead and you have all these spells, and it's just painful. But in Starfinder, it's really hard to come back. You guys made it quite difficult to come back. So, like, how do you handle death in your games?
I tend to. I don't use a screen. I roll all my dice in front of people. I don't really fudge, so characters will die in my games. I do kind of find that personally, I sort of enjoy those lower levels a little bit more because the threat of death is real. One of the things I think is a bit of a challenge, especially in ongoing campaigns, is you end up hooking so much of the story onto the characters that as the GM even, you kind of don't want them to die because that removes a whole bunch of your work, essentially. So that it's helpful when the game gives the players options to come back. I have not run Starfinder high enough level where it's become a problem for me as of yet. But, I let the dice fall where they may, for good or ill.
The only reason is because I was joking about that whole Eoxian thing, but I've been thinking about it a lot more.
Yeah, and you're going to do it, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Well, no, think about it, because the whole planet is people going there, and you can actually asked to become undead. You become like part of the Oxine society, and I guess some exceptions where you have to be accepted or pay something or whatever, and then you're now part of it. So why couldn't player characters? And then it's almost like a nice alternate way to continue your characters, because since we play adventure paths, your characters, if they die, it can wipe out a large part of the story.
Yeah.
Traditionally, what we do and what I'll do is that if they do die, I don't Deus Ex Machina it, but I do have them come back, but they're usually warped in some bad way, so they know that they're back, but there was a price to pay.
Right, or they, like, somebody brought them back and now they owe that person a favor.
Right,
or
there's
something.
a price to pay, and then there's a little mini adventure, which then helps the rest of the party hook into their story.
That's what I do, honestly. That if things go badly and, all of a sudden, I mean, in the case I was saying earlier about that Twitch stream I was doing, the team was just mopping the floor with my bad guys, so I was like, I'm just going to add 4 more Duergar to this final encounter, and that turned out to be a bridge too far. Right. And then I was like, I should never have added those guys, but it was too late, and I'm not going to have them fake miss every time. So if I was playing that as a normal campaign, what I probably would have done was kind of had the characters, come to, and now they're prisoners again, and then someone releases them, but now they owe that, and then that person says, you got to kill the chieftain of the clan so I can be the clan chieftain. And then, instead of the characters completely wiping out all the bad guys, they might actually have an ally now on the inside that you can bring back later in the campaign or whatever, and it all kind of just helps to tell the story of the campaign.
Yeah, I actually did a game at Gen Con, and I think it was James Jacobs was our DM.
Right?
And it was James Jacob was our GM, and it was like a pickup game for journalists, and we were in something, and instead of killing us, you could tell like we went off path.
Right.
He had us wake up in a cell, and you could see he was literally just making it up as we go look.
Yeah.
And he was having a blast. We were having a blast. It's like, okay, you're in a cell. Now what?
And
we're like,
that can be really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the most fun I've had running RPGs has been just doing it completely off the seat of my pants. You're in a city. I've got some notes about the city, but I don't know necessarily what you're going to do. Right. Just do what you want to do, and then we'll just riff and people like James. I mean, James is a great GM, and he's been playing for a long time, so he's got a whole bag of tricks he can pull out.
Hope you all enjoyed that interview. Once again, make sure you check out next week for part 2 of my interview with Erik Mona, where we actually talk about prison. I'm not going to give away any more spoilers. So next up, we have our weekly contest, where we are giving away a $25 gift certificate to Amazon every single week. And at the end of the month, we're going to give out over $500 to multiple people. All you need to do is write a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or Facebook, and email us your name, and that's it. You are entered. So again, I just randomly select someone. There appears to be a lot of entries here, and I just click. And I did make sure everyone actually entered something. And here I have Daniel V. He wrote a review on Stitcher. It's actually a very nice one. I think he did one on Facebook as well. So Daniel V. Actually, you don't have a nickname, so I'll say Daniel Vidney, I believe is how you pronounce it. You have won. So just write us here at Roll for Combat, and we'll give you further instructions on how to get your gift certificate. So that was a very long show. Give you something extra to listen to over the Thanksgiving holiday. Hope you have a good holiday weekend, everyone. And I'll talk to you next week on Roll for Combat.
You've been listening to Roll for Combat, a Starfinder actual play podcast. If you have a question or comment for the show, please visit us at rollforcombat.com or drop us a line at contact@rollforcombat.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, and other social media platforms. You've been listening to Roll for Combat. Until next week, always remember to attack the gazebo.